Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks, Claire. Yeah, it was a strange thing seeing Tom Watson singing the song, Jeremy Corbyn. What a lot of people don't know, though, it took him since June, the election result, to actually learn the words. So what a great platform that we've now got, yeah? And I'm going to say it's been built on three things. One, don't underestimate, and I know you don't, but let's never underestimate how much of it has been built on the strength of Jeremy Corbyn as an individual. I know it's not about individuals, but this is a guy who deserves enormous credit. I said it last night at our reception, that I genuinely cannot think of anybody I've ever come across in my life who the words "for the many, not the few" means Jeremy Corbyn. In every single policy issue, in every single debate that we'll have as a Labour movement, it is, exactly what it is. Secondly, the manifesto. And, the manifesto is not just a transformative manifesto. Could it ever have come at a better time than the state of the UK at the moment, and the state of Europe, and the state of the world? It is a manifesto that's of its time, and I think that's why it's so powerful, in that I think people who a few months ago weren't listening, and perhaps some older people who perhaps over the years felt that they'd come through their life in a way that they were okay now to retire or whatever. I think even some really sceptical people have opened up their ears and are listening. And our job is to take that manifesto into workplaces and to connect it to our industrial strategy, and we will do that. And the third thing is the mass movement. Because what the mass movement does is, one, it takes you forward. But let's not underestimate what an insurance policy it is that we never ever go backwards. And we've got to continue to build that mass movement, and that's part of the democracy of the Labour Party. I find it amazing that in that period of time, Labour has trebled its membership in 2 years. And I reflect quite a lot on why is it that the trade union movement, which I'm passionate about, has actually declined to a point where, even with all of the problems of work today, what we saw last year across the trade union movement was 275,000 less trade unionists than we had the year before. So we've got to learn from what Jeremy is setting out. Jeremy says that he was going to deliver a new kind of politics. I think he's delivered that. What we've got to do is deliver a new kind of trade unionism at the same time. Yeah. For me, the way forward for Labour is to focus very much now on bringing the policies that John McDonnell is responsible for, on introducing and getting in power on the basis of a completely radical, new and fresh approach to the economy and industrial strategy. That is absolutely crucial that we develop those arguments, and John himself comes to the fore in the coming months, because I don't think, and I don't believe anybody should think this, that this is a done deal. We really do have to redouble the efforts now, and we have to really go all out to get us there. It can't be that debate about one last push. There's a lot of work to do, and in my view, it needs to be centred around getting those ideas that are in that manifesto, in the economic and industrial strategy part of it, forward. But I'm also going to say that I think it's absolutely crucial that it's linked to two other things. One, that domestic agenda, that strategy cannot become subservient to the Brexit debate. Whatever your view is on Brexit, whether you voted leave or whether you voted remain, the left cannot allow a domestic agenda that is as strong and good as what is in that manifesto to become subsumed into the Brexit debate. For me as well, I'm really struggling sometimes when I hear the argument. I heard it last night on Newsnight from Chuka, saying that what the position that he's pushing is about social justice. And we cannot fall into the trap of believing that the guarantee of workers' rights is actually just in Europe. That is the biggest mistake that we will make. I'll say that for a couple of reasons. One, the history of it tells you the reality of that it didn't all come from Europe. And actually, a lot of workers don't think there's a huge amount in there anyway. And of course, the reason that I say it as well tactically, see, maybe people may not agree with this point, but I actually don't think the Tories will repeal the workers' rights that were in the European part of that as part of the Brexit deal. And the reason I say that is because the forces of politics have shifted against them so much that they'll be petrified of doing that. What I don't like is when I hear some of our people in our own movement, in the trade union movement, side of the labour movement, saying, do you know what we need to do? They're going to do it. They're going to do it. All we keep saying is they're going to take it away. They're going to take it away. What I want to know is when are we going to fight for it in the UK? That's the debate. And this is why the CWU has been relentlessly pursuing an agenda around, and this is my second point really, about linked to that industrial and economic structure. We must connect it with a new deal for workers in the UK. And the biggest fight we've had for decades must be led by the trade union movement, backing the Labour Party to secure that new deal for workers. John McDonnell must have turned up there. And we've set out at the TUC the other week a position that takes that debate forward. And it's around 4 very, very simple and all deliverable things. One, we're saying it's time that trade unions come together with a common agenda, a common bargaining agenda that we take to every single employer in this country that tackles insecure work. We've got to agree what the 2, 3 things, you can still have your individual stuff, but we've got to come together and show that we're willing to take that on with every single employer in the country. 2, we have said that the TUC must publish a manifesto on what constitutes a new deal for workers in this country. Something that everybody can get behind. Now, I ain't got time to go through all the bits of that, but we are talking about that, and we'll be pushing the arguments and publishing things that will show what that could look like. Of course it's going to deal with pay. Of course it's going to deal with the contractual status of employees and pensions, but it also needs to deal with the way companies are run in this country and change the way it's run. 3, we need to get, next March or spring, are they the same things? We need to get 1 million people out on the street under the banner of fighting for a new deal for workers in this country. Not Jeremy, not John, not the Labour Party, the trade union movement needs to do that. And I believe if we follow them things, we can do that. That is entirely possible to get 1 million people out on the street. And 4, the thorny subject of what do you follow it up with? Well, we've got to follow it up with some deliverable action. And I'm saying this from a strong view that I've held for many years. It can't just be a debate about let's have a general strike. Because I'll tell you what happens when we've had that debate in the past, as strong as those sentiments are, as passionate as some people are about that, it never ever gets delivered. Because too many trade unions will be honest and say, we can't deliver that. So my challenge to trade unions is, well, what can you deliver? Because we can't sit back anymore. Some unions might go a bit further. They may get people out. We would probably go for getting people out to come outside their workplace. Imagine a day when we've publicised it over the social media, we've campaigned, the TUC are all united, and we go, on that given day, we've had that demo, we've got 1 million people on the street, now we are going to deliver some action, and all workers in the country are coming out, maybe during their break, but every union has to sign up to doing something more than they've ever done before. And that's what I call deliverable action, worthy of a debate. Let me just finish by saying about where the CW is at the moment. We are in the middle of a ballot. Our ballot result is announced next Tuesday. And we are confident that we will get a big, big yes vote. I think I'm right in saying it's the first ballot of a national basis where there's over 111,000 people that we're balloting under the new Tory laws. And we're also confident, not complacent, because of the work we've done and the type of campaign we've run, and some brilliant people in our communications team who have absolutely changed the way our union campaigns. I can take the credit for bringing them in. One of them is actually a postal worker, who was a postal worker, and we brought him in to head up here. And we're confident that we're going to smash that 50% Tory threshold in them outrageous laws. So what I want to say and finish on is this. We've got a great platform. Let's develop the economic and industrial strategy. Let's not let it become subservient to Brexit. Let's make sure that we link it to a new deal for all workers in the UK. And the final thing I say, in the coming weeks, make sure you support your postal workers, because we're going to have a fight for industrial change as well as political change. Thanks very much.